Acceptance by Elenita Parica of Quakers Hill, 2763. Narrated by Rowena Robinson. As we approached retirement, we started to give ourselves some holiday travels, a pleasure we never had as much as we wanted to. There were lots of things to prioritize: bills, loans, miscellaneous expenses, and saving up for emergencies. Our main goal then was to see ourselves free from financial worries when we retired. As we were getting closer to the end of that hurdle, it was a good feeling that my husband and I both shared and were excited about. Our children had already moved out and were doing fine in their own rights. We even had a chance to help them out when they decided to acquire their own property. Seeing them grow and become the person they are today was an achievement we were both proud of as parents. It wasn't too long before we became grandparents. That was something we had anticipated, a chance to experience grandparenthood. It was time to enjoy the fruit of our labor, so to speak, and make memories with our grandkids. At that stage, too, we noticed some physical changes alongside aging. The youth and the strength we used to have changed. Both my husband and I developed some health issues that eventually slowed us down. Trips to the doctors increased in the last couple of years, and maintenance and medications were difficult to ignore. Some people at our age were different in a way. Surprisingly, they even looked younger and healthier. However, we were also aware how fortunate we were to have come this far. A few acquaintances and friends left this life earlier than expected and were somehow denied the privilege of getting older. I retired earlier when my husband decided to work a little longer to save up for our future getaways. We enjoyed the last travel we had outside the country with our daughter, and we planned on doing more when the time came. Being home alone with time to myself, I began to feel less stressed. I spent all day doing the things I loved: cooking, baking, and sewing. Later that year, we decided to make some changes around the house. I had the chance to design what we really wanted to suit our needs, staying there in the long run. The renovations took almost 2 months, and when it was finally completed, we had a sigh of relief, knowing that we had a place to stay comfortably in our old age, the same old place we called home for over 20 years. A year to my husband's planned retirement, an unthinkable incident happened. He woke up one morning with numbness in his arm and leg. Diabetes and stroke afflicted both sides of his family. The conditions manifested in him by his mid-50s. With medications and exercise, it had been under control until that fateful morning. The overwhelming shock hit us all. He was the strong dad we relied on, the handyman, the plumber, and the electrician who performed troubleshooting around the house. All we saw after the incident was a helpless man lying in bed. This was not the life we envisioned in retirement. We had hoped to go places, enjoy traveling together, but most of all taking care of each other. It was an unexpected setback that shifted our lives to a situation we never imagined. It had turned our dreams into a distant reality. I had known a few people who suffered from the same misfortune, but not around my family, so everything was new to me. Our children were all supportive as they saw me struggle. I just couldn't grasp how things happened. I was a mess. I couldn't comprehend what we could have done differently. There were lots of questions that came to my mind, but it was left unanswered. All we needed to focus on was his recovery and survival. In the hospital, we were informed that my husband had suffered from a hemorrhagic stroke, where the location of the bleeding was not possible for surgery. He was immediately stabilized and closely monitored. The right side of his body was paralyzed, and his speech was affected. I became his primary carer, and it broke my heart to see him dependent on me, who, as much as him, was also adjusting to the new situation in front of us and ahead of us. Despite the worries and stress that began to daunt me, I realized the role that had shifted to me. I couldn't dwell on why or be weak. He needed me now more than ever. He would do the same if it were the other way around. As I watched him trying to see the good side to the dilemma we were in, I began to share his optimism. He continued his therapy, and with determination to get well, he showed improvement steadily. He became more and more independent as the days went by. With the chaos and confusion that took us over, I hadn't even noticed the moment when I began to embrace the circumstances of what happened. Aging is a part of life, and life is what you make it, come rain or shine. When the road is clear, run smoothly. When there's a hurdle, just step up slowly. That's exactly what we have been going through. The situation wasn't the way we wanted it to be, but life is not about wants anymore. It is the journey that matters, and accepting things we cannot change is the key. Acceptance of the reality helped us move forward. The love we have for each other made us see the good side, created by a challenging situation. It kept us going by doing things differently, with what we can and what we have. It is this journey that we've been creating new memories, one step at a time. There is no shame in doing small, achievable goals. It is better than doing nothing at all. Life doesn't end after a tragedy. It can lead to new experiences with patience and sensibility. The end.